Day 12. Sydney, what are we doing today?
So for day 12, we started going to the school that Andrea is a principal at, and at the school we were able to talk to different classes. So the first class was a little bit more quiet, but then after the break, we were able to talk to some kids, and I think they were able to warm up a little bit more, and so we went into the second classroom where they were a lot more talkative. I was there with Kamari and Sarah. They had a lot of questions about American food, American activities. My camera's moving. Sheesh. Okay. And so yeah, so we were able to answer those questions. I think the questions that we were asked a lot were about what we thought about Germany so far, first impressions. If we knew any German, they were really excited that I knew how to say simple phrases. And also about what we wanted to do when we grew up, which was kind of surprising. One thing we talked about with Andrea afterwards was about the demographics of the school. So there was a lot of different populations there, including Arabic and Turkish populations, as well as kids from Russia or Poland or things like that. So it was really a school with a lot of diversity. One thing I noticed was the school was really strict on things like their phone rules. Like if they saw your phone out, you get it taken away for 2 weeks. And things like the bathrooms being locked all the time. Those are things that I don't think I would have liked when I was in school. Also, if you showed up late, you had to clean. And I think that's kind of difficult because I feel like that's putting a lot of responsibility on really young kids. I know a lot of times if I was late to school, it was a combination of both me and my mother or my father and things like that, or my siblings. So I think, sometimes things happen and you can't always be on time. And I think punishing them for that, taking them out of class for that feels like an odd choice. But I think also, the way that Andrew was talking, these kids needed more structure maybe than kids where I went to school did. So I don't know what they consider an effective strategy with that, but I thought that was interesting and something that I probably wouldn't have enjoyed as a student, but maybe it was necessary. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm any later in general because of it.
How was your school experience?
Took a nap.
Oh.
While she was speaking.
After that, we went to our second environmental business of the week, which was a bed company that was making sustainable beds. The company describes these beds as sustainably made because they were planting trees to kind of offset the carbon footprint, as well as hiring locally and producing locally using German materials. But I do think that the beds were kind of expensive and kind of not necessarily super accessible, which kind of leads into environmentalism being a rich person's hobby rather than just a way of life and sustainable living.
It's not a free voyage.
That being said, I think allowing people to kind of participate in environmentally more sustainable options this way is a really great way to implement sustainability into the everyday life. And I think that's kind of the same thing that's with Daikel. I think, seeing the beds kind of pop up in more cities across the world, especially in places like Charlotte, I think would be a great option because of the timber resources as well as the market. Would really be a great way to kind of position sustainability, and also they said quality. People really admire the quality of the piece and wanting it to last. So I think that would be a great option, and for people who can afford it, I think it's a great way to live sustainably. We had been invited by one of the teachers at the school to visit their mosque, so we made our way to one of the more Turkish neighborhoods. Here's me almost falling over on the way. Had some extra time, so we stopped for ice cream, which is the most beautiful looking ice cream I've ever had. At the mosque, we were able to meet with some of the members of it, as well as get to see one of the prayer services. So in Islam, I pray 5 times a day. We got to see the third one, I believe, and it was really a wonderful experience. I took an introduction to the Islamic Middle East when I was a freshman, and while that title is slightly problematic, I did get to learn a lot about the faith. And one of the things I took away the most from that class was how similar it was to Christianity and my own faith. I remember something that I always took away from it was in Mecca there is a statue of Mary and Jesus, and Jesus as a prophet. And I think it's kind of cool to think about the Abrahamic religions as Judaism and then Christianity and then Islam, and kind of how the three kind of build upon each other. And so it was really cool to see the ways in which similar practices in my faith were represented and interpreted in Islam. And it was a really beautiful service, and I really truly feel honored that we were able to experience that, and also experience the hospitality of the members of this mosque. Not only did they greet us with warmth and answer our questions with patience and understanding, but they also gifted us with roses, which are the symbol of their Prophet Muhammad. We got to try rose water, Turkish tea, and also some desserts. I think, in America, Islam has been misrepresented and miscommunicated in many ways following 9/11 and the fear that came from that. And I think, it was really wonderful of them to open up their community like that and share with us, the beauty of their faith, and a faith that has been misrepresented so much in my community's like media and content, and to see the beauty and peace and hear about the experiences that they've had with beauty and peace within their own lives through their religion and their faith, and to be welcomed in that space was a really special time. After we left the mosque, you can see the outside here, we went to have dinner at a Turkish restaurant.
Cecilia, what's
Dinner
your
review?
11 out of 10. Love the Turkish tea.
Somebody say, choo-choo, the train is coming.
And so we headed back to the hotel. So also, we did talk about the Turkish populations within Germany. In my high school German classes, we watched the show Turkish for Anfänger, which was about, a Turkish family and a German family and how they kind of were operating together. And so it was really interesting to be able to kind of see some of the things that they talked about represented, kind of hear about those today. And it's also interesting to hear about immigration in other countries, since it's such a hot topic in America and the issue of attention cycle right now. So it was really interesting, and I also just really appreciated getting to experience like some of the German culture today, and the German culture through the lens of the Turkish populations. So yeah, it was a really beautiful day, and I feel like it's something that I'll remember for a really long time. So yeah, end of day 12.